Hello and welcome back to the Blogger Genius podcast. I am your host, Jillian Leslie. I'm also co-founder of software startup MiloTree, the simple, easy to use platform that helps bloggers, creators, and online entrepreneurs grow their email lists, get more social media followers, and sell digital products all in one place. At MiloTree, our mission is to make it crazy simple for you to monetize your expertise with tools that actually work. Whether you're looking to sell digital downloads, workshops, coaching packages, memberships, MiloTree has your back. If you're ready to grow your income while cutting through all those tech headaches, MiloTree is the partner you have been looking for. So head to milotree.com and sign up. And you get your first 30 days free. Now, I'm so excited to welcome back my friend and podcasting veteran, Megan Porta, host of the incredible Eat Blog Talk podcast. This is Megan's third time on the show because she always brings so much wisdom and heart. In this episode, we dive into the trends we should expect in the food blogging space in 2025. And while it's been a challenging year for many, there are inspiring success stories out there. So Megan and I discuss what those bloggers are doing to thrive, from optimizing their blog posts, showing up on social media, diversifying income streams with digital products and unique services. So if you're ready to be inspired and take your business to the next level, this episode is for you. So without further delay, here is my interview with Megan Porta. Megan, welcome back to the Blogger Genius podcast.
I'm so happy to be here again, Jillian. So good to talk to you.
I love that we do this and we check in and it's like, what are you seeing? What am I seeing? And especially as we are in Q4, I think this is a really interesting time for bloggers and food bloggers specifically. So just kind of from like a 30,000 foot view, if I were to say, what trends are you seeing in food blogging? What are the biggest trends?
I see a lot of people either frustrated with Google or just kind of pivoting because of all of the changes going on there. So I see a lot of people leaning into Pinterest, and successfully so. I see a huge focus on email, growing email lists, and really focusing on subscribers and building community. I also see a lot of people leaning into like doing blog updates. So if they have a lot of content and they've been blogging for a while, going back and just combing through their older content and giving it a refresh. I think those are some of the main kind of trends just off the top of my head.
Oh, great. And let's unpack some of these. One thing that we talked about before I pressed record is that a lot of people have gotten obliterated by Google, and other people, though, have not.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I think that the people who have not gotten obliterated are doing really well. There are some food bloggers in some of my groups who have just felt really shy about coming forward about this because it just feels like when businesses get kind of demolished, their traffic anyway, it's really hard for people to say, oh, but mine's doing really well. You know what I mean? So I get it. It's hard to sound like you're bragging or you're not being so humble. But I think it's really important to talk about this because it gives other people hope who are going through traffic devastation. Not everybody's traffic was demolished. I know bloggers who are doing, like, they're having record months for traffic and revenue and RPMs, and they're doing extremely well. So I don't say that to, just to make people feel bad who are going through some devastating times, but more saying it as just a token of hope. If you are going through times, things can change, things can look up, and your traffic will be better in the future if you keep at it.
Now, are you seeing any patterns For example, are all of these bloggers who are doing better or who are hanging in there, are they all, say, in a specific niche? Are they all doing, repurposing content? Are they like, what do you know? Can you see any patterns?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I have been asking around. So if somebody tells me my traffic is record breaking, I'll start, asking the questions like, oh, well, tell me about your business. What are you doing right now? So I have seen a few themes. One of them is it does seem to happen to more established bloggers. So I would say if you've been around for 5 years or more, if you have a domain authority that is, over 30 to 40-ish, niche hasn't seemed to play a role as much, although um, like I know one blogger who has been around forever, but she got hit really hard because she does a lot of affiliate
Mhm.
posts on her blog. And then also people who are making health claims. So if you're not a registered dietitian and you're talking about, how healthy your recipes are and you don't have any data to back that up, I think those people were hit too. So bloggers free of that kind of stuff, like you don't talk about healthy recipes a lot and you're not a dietitian or don't have the credentials to back it up. And then, yeah, just good domain authority. You've established your blog. Also, one other thing is people who are doing a lot of new content and content updating. So they're focusing on both, maybe equally, seem to be doing a little bit better.
That's interesting. So I've had a couple big SEO experts on my podcast. And the thing that many have shared, especially Rand Fishkin, who was the guy who got leaked the Google algorithm data, said that yes, Google does look at brand, domain authority. If you are known, you will benefit in Google's
Mhm.
eyes, which makes sense from Google's perspective. Why send you to some random brand new food blog when they can send you to an established food blog or even a food company? And therefore, it's like a chicken and egg problem, which is, well, how do I get that brand
Yeah,
authority? How do I build the notoriety of my brand? And one thing that he shared is if, for example, you take the name of a company or the name of a blog and type it into Google because you want their recipes or their information because they've got that brand recognition, that is a huge signal to Google that you are this reputable, blog company site. And that's tricky, but it's kind of like, I don't know about you, I'll be like on social media and I'll see like a brand and I'll be like, I want to learn more about them. And then I go to Google and I type in their name.
yeah.
So it's like, how do you grow that expertise?
Time, patience, time, just like the rest of us did. I mean, I started my food blog 14 years ago. I was just telling someone this the other day, like when I started, I just knew. I just had this feeling in my gut, like, I'm not going to stop. I am going to make this work. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if there are ups and downs. I just knew that it was going to be a long journey and I was in. So I think if you are a newer blogger and you're, having to come to terms with this, like I have a low DA, I'm not established. What do I do? Then that's the answer. You have to keep producing high quality content. You have to keep putting in the work. You have to be persistent. You have to be diligent. You have to be consistent and keep showing up. Don't expect things to just happen because that's not the world we live in. So I think that's the answer, just time and patience. Unfortunately, a lot of people
Yeah.
probably don't want to hear that.
And I will argue to add one piece to that, have a point of view, even if you are a food blogger, have something where you have an opinion about something so that you're not just exactly like every other food blogger in your space.
Absolutely.
It's a
Yeah.
way to be able to
Niche.
say like, this is who I am. And if you agree with me, come with me on this
Hmm.
journey
Yeah.
versus I'm
Niches
going to
are
be,
so
yeah,
important
like
now.
every, but even within the niche, have a point of view about it. So
Mhm.
here are the trickiest parts of cooking Indian food. Here are the, here's why this is easy, or here's how to deal with spice, or I don't like spice, or just be human more so than I'm going to be like everything to everybody, but even in the way that I write my posts.
Yeah. Be unique.
Be unique. So that's
Hmm.
been the thing, the message that I keep hearing, or where I see people have success. Because let's say I am the Indian food blogger who hates spice, right? Wow, like Indian food has a lot of spice. So then it's like, wait, but maybe there are other people out there who don't like spice. Or maybe I'm the super spicy Indian food blogger. But at least then, if you are that, if you like spice, you'll come along with me because we see the world, the same way.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to say those things, which is kind of your point. Like, whatever your unique take is within your niche, speak up because that's going to separate you and make you stand out. And it'll draw people to you, like you're saying.
Absolutely. So let's talk about Pinterest. And
Hmm.
as people are pivoting away from relying on Google for all their traffic and now recognize, oh, you can still get traffic from Pinterest, what strategies are you seeing that work?
I think some of it is maybe a bit of a mindset tweak because for so long people would refer to Pinterest as a social media platform. But I think if we can see it more as an SEO database, it's actually a search engine. It's a place people go to search things like recipes. So I think that is really important because you do need to do a little bit of keyword research within Pinterest. You can't just, it's not like the old days where you can just create random pins, thrown on different images and name it whatever and have it show up in everybody's home feed. It's a totally different world. So you do have to give keyword research some forethought. And I think that's really like kind of the key. There, I don't know, people can get so hung up on like what size images should I be creating and how many pins per URL and that sort of thing. But I think it's more about just recognizing Pinterest is a search tool. People go there for recipes. I just had someone this weekend tell me if I want a recipe, I go to Pinterest and I search it. I search like chili recipe, slow cooker chili, whatever. And I was like, interesting. That's so cool to know that you don't go straight to Google. So just seeing that as a place people go to find your recipes, I think is a huge shift.
Yeah. And I would just to add to that, the thing that where I have found people having a lot of success is thinking about the different use cases for your content. For example, if your chili recipe would work great at a brunch, let's say, to go, okay, like I'm going to go for all of the what I think of for people wanting, let's say, spicy chili or some sort of chili version, and then go, well, when would people want this? Maybe they would want it at a brunch. Maybe they would want it on a camping trip. Maybe they would want it as a freezer meal. And thinking through, and this is great. This is a great use for ChatGPT or any AI tool to say, where,
Hmm.
what are the use cases? What are the opportunities that this, where could this recipe fit into somebody's life who is searching for a quick meal or family friendly meal or a vegan meal, something like that. And then creating different pins that tie into these different situations.
Yeah, I think that's a really smart approach, especially on Pinterest, where someone probably does have a specific type of party or an event in mind that, yeah, like I don't know what to bring to my sister-in-law just had a kind of like a pseudo wedding shower, but it wasn't really a shower. I was like, do I bring food? Well, like, what do I bring? So just having those specific things to search for, especially on Pinterest, I think yeah, that's really smart.
I think that Pinterest, from what I understand, is more, it can be specific, like I want a chili recipe, but a lot of times people come to Pinterest top of their funnel or top of like exploring. Give me picnic recipe ideas or give
Yeah.
me, a bridal shower or wedding idea potlucks. And you want Pinterest to kind of wow you with the ideas. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. And that's why I think looking at it from the specifics all the way to like how would people get to this recipe and how do I make it pop?
Yeah. Yeah. Thinking like a marketer is, I think, ever important as a blogger in general, but especially when thinking about Pinterest, like exactly what you're saying, Jillian, like where are people going that they need to bring this recipe, but also what words are you putting on your pins instead of it used to be just like the title of the recipe and that was it. But what will actually entice people to click over to save the pin? It's probably not the title. You have to think about what they are needing from the recipe. Are they needing a 5-minute recipe, a 5-ingredient recipe? What's going to make them really, what's going to make the pin really stand out to them and call to them?
Yeah. And so our food bloggers, like this is a hard question. How long is it taking somebody who's saying, you know what? Okay, I want to make sure I have different traffic sources. I'm going to start investing more seriously in Pinterest. How long is it taking people to start seeing the results of that effort?
I've been hearing like you've got to stick with it for at least 6 months. Just it is a long game. Pinterest isn't a quick fix. You aren't going to see traction within a couple of months. You have to commit, go into it knowing it's going to be long. So I would say plan on at least 6 months, but maybe even a year. I know there are people in my mastermind group right now who are like, oh my gosh, the pins that I created 1 year ago are finally gaining traction. So to give it a full calendar year is safe, but maybe a little bit sooner.
And are we talking pins every day, new pins every day?
I don't think every day. I think hmm, the common suggestion that I've been hearing lately is just creating somewhere around 5 new pins per URL. So when you create a new post, like let's say you create 2 new posts this week, creating 5 unique pins per URL and then spacing those out. And then if you go back and you're combing through your older content to kind of do the same, but I don't think you have to do that every single day. I think just like with any platform, this is the recommendation right now, just to be consistent. So kind of find what works for you. So maybe it's like 1 update a week and 2 new posts a week, and you're creating 5 new pins for each of those. So that would be 3 posts total. And then just doing that for 3 months or 6 months and seeing what happens.
Gosh, yeah. And what is your bet? Because you're doing a lot on mindset.
Yes.
How do you recommend people stay in the game? Like I
Like
hear
just
you
overall.
and I go like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
Megan just said that's 3 posts a week. That's 15
Oh,
pins a week. That's, and she can say it and I can go, "Oh yeah, that sounds good." And then I get in there and I've done it, let's say for 3 weeks. It's kind of like
I
being on a
know.
diet. And then I don't hear you, Megan, in my ear saying, "Keep going, keep going, keep going." So how do you get into somebody's ear to say, no, 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 you're doing good. Keep going. Even though you're seeing no results yet, it's still too
I
early. Keep
know.
going.
I know. It's like that whole faith element. There are so many pieces of blogging and food blogging specifically that require that faith. Pinterest is one of those. And I get it. I've been at that point where it's like the honeymoon is over, 3 weeks in, you're like, okay, I am so over creating all of these pins and, like I totally get that. Um, but just that, I think being in touch with your end goal and your end
Mm.
why is so huge. That is what motivates me all the time through all of these things that I just keep pushing through. I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I think if you don't know that, it can be so easy to let things slide, to lose sight, and to just stop and give up, like either the project or blogging altogether. So that would be my number one piece of advice is figure out why you're doing this. Why are you here? Why are you showing up and doing this crazy, insane food blogging thing that is so hard and challenging? Um, Figure that out. And I think once you do, you'll have motivation to get through anything.
It's funny because I think that as bloggers, because we wear so many hats, or I'm going to say online entrepreneurs, there's always something new and shiny that feels promising. I tried Pinterest for 3 weeks. I saw nothing. Okay,
Mm,
I'm, let's say, in a Facebook group or scrolling on Instagram, and somebody's talking about this amazing Instagram strategy or this amazing email strategy or this quick fix with hashtags, like who knows? Um,
yeah.
and then you go, oh, okay, I need to go chase that shiny object over here. And like, I'm going to give up on Pinterest and go this
Yeah.
way because it's new and exciting. I find a lot of times with craft bloggers who are the more creative the blogger, the more beautiful the stuff they create. Sometimes I have seen this correlate with kind of like a messier brain. Like because they
Hmm.
can have all this creativity and all this inspiration, they have a harder time sticking through the drudgery because that
Yeah.
new idea is so exciting.
Yeah.
And I have to always be like, okay, but come back to the boring stuff, come back to the rote stuff, because you can't be like chasing these things all the time when that idea seems just so much more fun than this idea.
Yeah. I mean, yes, our job should be fun, but that should not be the measurement that we're using. And I think if you have experienced burnout on any level, you will not chase the fun things all the time. You will know that you have to follow the things that are working, the things that are going to give you traction and make you money and all of that. Um, but yeah, again, like going back to just knowing why you're doing what you're doing and having well-established goals. Like this aligns with this, and this is going to lead me here to my ultimate dream. So measuring anything that comes into your view, like, oh, this new Instagram strategy, oh, that looks fun. Sitting down with yourself and just saying, okay, does this align with my goals? Does it align with my end result? If yes, then great. Maybe figure out a way to fit it in. If no, if it's just a fun new creative thing, maybe put it on the back burner for a little bit. So I think you have to assess all the time, unfortunately, because you're right. So many things come into our scope that are like, oh, this would be so fun to do. What a fun new project. But then if we keep doing that, we add so much to our plate that we burn out and then we have to take time off or we consider quitting. And that is never a good place to be.
I want to take a short break to ask you a question. Are you wondering what kind of digital product you should create first? If so, I've got something fun for you. Take my digital product personality quiz. In just 2 minutes, you'll discover the perfect digital product to create based on your unique strengths and personality. Whether you're a natural teacher, a creative thinker, or someone who loves building community, this quiz will point you in the right direction, and it's super quick and fun. So head to milotree.com/quiz. That's milotree.com/quiz to take the quiz now and get started on your digital product journey. And now back to the show. When I'm coaching, I always say money is a really good North Star. Where are you making money? And is there a way to double down on that? before I pressed record, we were talking about selling digital products, which I want to talk about because I know that if somebody comes to me and they have 1,000 or 2,000 email subscribers and they're not selling to those people, there's money waiting right there for them. It's simple. Now, it's simple. I say it's simple. Like you'll have to figure out how to get that money out and what your people want from you. But that's a very direct route to making money. It's why we built Milo Tree. It was because we saw this, that the long game of like, okay, I need to get to, I don't even know what it is right now to get into, say, Mediavine, if it's still 50,000 sessions. I think they've like now dropped, they all have these like entry level
Mm-hmm.
programs. But in terms of like being in charge of your kind of monetary success, I'm always evaluating businesses based on that. Like I go, okay, you've got 10,000 Instagram followers, but how much money is that making you?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's always a really good, if you're a business owner and you're in this because this is your job, then I say if you don't know where to point your North Star, I'm going to say point it toward what is making you money and what are the easiest ways to get there.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And ways that you make money that you're also not hating. So if you're making money creating, I don't know, doing cooking classes or something and it just sucks your soul and your energy, then maybe don't do that. But yeah, like following your passions, like what really lights you up, what is making you money, and do more, like double down on more of that. I think that's a really good recommendation.
So in terms of different ways that food bloggers right now are monetizing, where are you seeing the opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, digital products, I am seeing quite a few food bloggers dig more into that. We've had a lot of questions in our eblog talk groups lately just about like, what do I create? I want to sell an ebook or I want to sell a product or do challenges or whatever. So I think that is a huge one. And tapping into email lists is huge for selling those products. Obviously ads, but people are trying to just diversify a little bit. I'm trying to think what else. Like I haven't heard much commotion about cooking classes that used to be all the rage, like what, like 2 years ago, 2 to 4 years ago, or something like that. But I just haven't heard of many people doing that.
How about sponsored content?
Yeah, yes, sponsored content is still big. People are still interested in that. Also, freelancing for other food bloggers. So, taking pictures or writing for other bloggers who just want to outsource and offload some tasks from their plate. I would say those three things. Yeah. So, sponsored work, digital products, and freelancing are
And one,
probably the biggest
how
right
about
now.
affiliates?
See, now, I mean, this could be different for everyone, but I know a few bloggers who focused on that who just were really hit hard
Mm.
during the HCU updates. So I feel like people are kind of backing off on that a little bit until things kind of settle down. But, it could be different. Like someone could be crushing it with that. Not saying that's happening for everyone, but
And I think that Google did crack down on those sites that would be a site for, I don't know, cars or something. Well, I don't know if cars work, some mattresses or who knows. And it was just really a way to do that affiliate play. Like, I'm going to create
mhm.
this content, but really, I just want people to click on the affiliate link. And Google said, that's not cool. That's
Yeah,
not like
like a
real
scheme, more
content.
of a
It
scheme.
felt,
Yep.
yes. And I think there was a moment where that really worked for people. And then Google was like, this doesn't feel kosher. And a lot of real bloggers with real content got hit as Google
hmm
started penalizing these scammy sites.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what has happened. And I do think the dust will settle eventually because the bloggers I'm referring to are like super awesome, high quality content bloggers creating valuable resources for people who want to buy these products. So it's not like they're part of that scheming at all. But I think with some of the updates that have been rolled out, we just kind of have to sit back and let things play out a little bit, even though it's really painful for some. And I am hoping that's what's happening with the affiliate stuff.
Mm. Now let's talk about AI
Hmm.
because we were just sharing. I was saying, like, I don't know how I lived before
Yeah,
AI. Like, it's become it's like my friend, and I check in with my AI all the time. And I think it was initially very upsetting because it felt like cheating and it felt like it was going to get into the wrong hands and they were going to do bad things. So tell me how you're seeing food bloggers approach AI today.
exactly what you just said. So I don't know, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when it first started coming out, there was panic in our space. Like, this is going to take over our entire blog. Like, yeah, I mean, we just didn't know what to think about it. But now I don't sense that panic at all. I sense people really leaning into using good prompts, getting ideas, information, help, getting help with writing emails, um, like generating ideas for blog posts, not writing blog posts. I don't think a lot of people are doing, but just getting like, if you write a post about slow cooker chili, what could be helpful to know if somebody's reading that post, like that sort of thing. And it really does come up, as you know, with such good ideas that I don't always think about. And you can ask it literally anything if you're stuck in any area, whether it's work or not, and it will come up with incredible ideas. You can take them or leave them,
Mhm.
but I think it is such a good companion.
Yeah, it's like a companion. In fact, I think that blogging is very lonely. And
Mm,
I don't know about you. Maybe this says something about my personality, but I will write something and I will always copy and paste it into ChatGPT and go, what do you think? With a more
mhm.
specific question. And when it tells me like, wow, this is really good. And I'm like, thank you,
You're like,
ChatGPT.
yes, good.
Like you're in my corner. And so I
Yeah,
think there is something to that, especially because we're putting out stuff we don't know. We don't know what we haven't thought of. We don't know what's right in front of us that we're not seeing. So to have like new eyes on stuff, I think is so weirdly valuable.
it is. It is. It's like having a little coworker right next to you all the time. You can say, "Hey," and this coworker is super smart and has access to a lot of information and just run things by them. It is
Yeah.
very handy and it makes you feel not so lonely, like you said. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a friend.
Yeah, friend to go like, no, that's not crazy. Or no,
Yeah.
that is crazy. Or I
Yeah.
wouldn't, but they wouldn't say it like that because my ChatGPT is so nice to me that it would
I
be like,
know.
well, you might think about it this way. And I'm like, thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
So that's so interesting. I do think that it is still so unknown. I keep
Yeah, for
reading, I
sure.
read stuff that says all these jobs are going to go away. No, they're not going to go away. And nobody knows. When somebody comes out and says this is what it's going to look like, honestly, nobody knows. So it's kind of like, well, I'm going to enjoy it while I can and kind of just be open to how it evolves over time.
Yeah. I mean, that's all we can do, right? So many things that we thought would happen in the worst way have actually happened in a really good way. So this is why I don't typically worry about things like this because you never know what's going to happen. You never know how things are going to evolve. So why not think positively and assume that they're going to evolve in a way that benefits us?
I like that. I like that. Now, are there any specific tools that you have found that food bloggers are using, like with AI or not, that you go, wow, that is cool? I'm predominantly just Chat GPT. No, it's not true.
Hmm.
I have like a tool for my podcast, but it really is just slicing and dicing my content and putting it, oh, here's a blog post for it, or here's the transcript, that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
are there any other tools that you go, I didn't know about that, and that's cool?
not really. I mean, there are, like the AI tool within Canva and things like that, but I think people really do default to ChatGPT just because it can really get a good handle on your voice and all of that. Do you Jillian, do you pay for what is the upgraded version of ChatGPT? I don't
Yes,
do
I
that, but I've
do.
considered it.
I do, but to be honest with you, I don't. I'd have to ask David, my husband, what we get for it. And recently he said, I'm not even sure it's that valuable because
Okay.
the free version, I think, gives you 80% of what it used to be that if you paid, you either got a better model or you got more access. But I think that that's really flattening.
Hmm.
I don't have a great reason why you need to pay for it.
Okay.
The only
Yeah.
thing I do
Oh,
know
yeah.
is if you're not feeling like you're getting great results, try Claude. I put the same
Oh,
prompt into Claude and see what you get. Sometimes I do find that I might get a different take from Claude, but those are really
yeah,
the
that's
only two that
interesting.
I use.
Okay. I've never used Claude. I've heard people in my mastermind have said that when they started paying for ChatGPT, that it just kind of takes on their voice a little bit easier. It listens a little bit more. So I know I give reminders like I don't like this word being used or whatever, and then it'll do it. And I'm like, but I said I didn't like that word. So from what I've heard, if you pay, it's a little bit more like in tune with you and will listen a little bit better. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's kind of what I've heard.
That's so interesting. Now, because we talk about like blogging being lonely, and yes, you can use ChatGPT to mitigate that a little bit, but you also run groups and memberships and stuff so that food bloggers don't feel so lonely. And you were saying that you're starting to think about your groups for 2025. So what is
Hmm.
that? And what can people who are going, you know what, I could use a community, like what is it?
So we do a few different groups. So the main group I would call it is our mastermind group. And that is a year-long group for like intermediate to advanced food bloggers or bloggers. We accept other bloggers as well who are just feeling either like they're spinning their wheels, they're stuck, they need access to relevant information, they want really tight knit connection with peers. There's so much else. I mean, these groups are really, really awesome. So that's kind of the main one. And we also do kind of a group for lower budget. So if you don't have the budget for the mastermind, we also offer accountability group, and that's just a low monthly subscription. You get focus calls and you get a monthly Zoom call with me and the community manager, Taryn, um, and kind of some other ones too, but those are the main ones. We do like a mini minds group. So if you're more of a newer blogger, it's just like less time commitment, less cost, but it's also a year-long group as well. So we try to offer something for all budgets, all experience levels, and kind of all reasons why you need community.
Okay, I have two questions to end. The first one is blogging dead?
No way. I don't think, I mean, I'm not a fortune teller, but I think it'll be a really long time before blogging is dead. No, blogging is not dead.
And my second question is, do bloggers need to redefine themselves as online entrepreneurs?
Hmm, that's a good question. Maybe, and maybe there's a new term out there that we just haven't coined yet, but it doesn't seem to fit totally when I tell people I'm a food blogger because there's so much more to it. So yeah, maybe like content creator, that even doesn't fully describe it, does it? That's a good question, Jillian.
Well, I just feel like sometimes blogging feels like you're in a lane. And because the journey is so different for everybody, I think we need to think of ourselves in a more expansive way because who knows what your path is going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, because more and more there does seem to be um like favor almost given to people who are more of a brand who show up everywhere. They have YouTube channels, they have Instagram accounts that are thriving. So it does seem to be more of a bigger scope kind of brand situation versus just a blogger.
And just especially since you and I think about mindset a lot, that there's something to like, whoa, I'm bigger than this. Like this is my
Yeah,
focus, but the sky's the limit.
it really is. Things evolve all the time, but we always evolve and adapt with it, right? Like the people who are committed, we will keep going with the flow and changing as needed. So don't worry about it. I certainly don't think it's worth worrying like, oh no, is blogging going to die? And then what happens to me? No, think more like, how can I evolve with this landscape? And just, I think a lot of it falls on intuition too, and just leaning into what you really feel is best for your brand and your business. Yeah, and not thinking too much about it.
Hmm. All right, Megan, if people want to reach out to you, see what you're doing, learn about your podcast, where should they go?
Eatblogtalk.com. Everything will be there. You can access all podcast episodes. We have almost 600 now. Um, and then if you are interested in one of the groups I talked about, links to all of those are on the homepage as well.
Well, I have to say, I love that we are friends and I love that we do these intermittent check-ins. So I look forward to our next one. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
I hope you guys like this episode. For me, my biggest takeaway from my conversation with Megan is her perspective on embracing positivity. Since we can't predict how things are going to evolve, why not choose to believe that things are only going to get better? And I absolutely loved her emphatic response when I asked if blogging was dead. A resounding no. What a powerful and uplifting message to carry forward. Before I wrap up, don't forget to take my digital product personality quiz at milotree.com/quiz. It's fun, quick, and it will help you figure out the perfect digital product to create based on your own personal strengths. And even if you don't think you're ready to grow your audience and start selling digital products, trust me, you are ready. So sign up for MiloTree and get your first 30 days free. And with MiloTree, you can actively build your audience and create a sustainable income stream. So this is your time to take your business seriously and make it happen. And I'm here to help you. So if you think a friend would enjoy this episode, please share it. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Episodes drop every Tuesday night at midnight. Thanks for listening, and I will see you here again next week.